Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Global Renaissance Podcast, where we have thoughtful conversations on society and self. As always, I am your host, Trev Woods. I am joined by repeat contributor. This is like episode 3, 4 that you've been on. I don't
think
even
it's
know.
like number 4.
Something like
3 or
that.
4.
You found Nelly. Nelly knows.
Nelly.
Nelly the nomad. Know the vibes. Nellisha, how you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. It's kind of cold in Boston. We don't
Tight.
like that, but I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm I'm me. I'm just living life.
Okay.
Putting one foot in front of the other.
Okay.
Type of vibe. It is cold today. I'm not very appreciative
Freezing.
of that, but it's all good. Yeah, I didn't really come with a set agenda for today because we don't do that around these parts. So I guess today we're gonna psychoanalyze Nellisha.
Whoa! I didn't know we were doing that. I have therapy next week. Thank you.
Listen, I just feel like the last conversation we had before you had a therapy session, you were like, wait, let's not continue this. Let me go to therapy. And then you never updated me. So that's fake. That's very fake.
Okay. Well, we'll see what's going to be cut out and what's not going to be cut out.
Anyway, maybe we won't do that. But our dear friend Nellisha has been out and about. And by out and about, I mean like outside of the country because she likes to do that. Big into travel. She's been creating a lot of travel content. So talk to us about your travels. Where have you been?
Are we talking 2025?
Yeah, let's start with this year.
Okay, so this year I went to Colombia.
Colombia,
Huepa.
You speak Spanish?
Un poquito más o menos.
So no.
I was holding my own,
Okay,
actually,
alright,
in Central America.
okay.
Okay, they thought I was local for real.
Did they?
But they did.
You don't look like a local.
I know, but they thought I was local. I went to Colombia. I went to Cartagena and Medellin specifically, and I also went to Panama. That was a lot of fun. And then in July, I'm going to Guatemala, and I'll be going to Africa, specifically Kenya, Botswana, Zimbabwe, and Zambia in September. So, very excited.
It's a nice trip. Those are all in one trip. Those
4? Mm-hmm. So
okay.
we're going with Jess. So
shout out to Jess.
We're flying from Charlotte. From Charlotte, we're going to go to New York, and then we're going to go to Kenya.
I don't fuck with New York right now.
Celtics in 8, y'all.
Oh my God.
Celtics in 8. Celtics in 8.
Oh man, that shit hurt my heart. But anyway, back to what you were saying.
Let's see. So yes, we're gonna go to Kenya for a day, and then after that, we're gonna go to Zambia. Zambia is gonna be the bulk of the trip.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna spend a couple of days in Zimbabwe, and then I think a day or two in Botswana. Back to Kenya on the way back. So we get about 40 hours or so in Kenya, and then back to the US of A, unfortunately. But
what's that Kenyan place in DC called?
What Kenyan place?
The place we went to with the little chips.
Swahili Village.
There we go. I was
Swahili
talking to my mom about
Village.
the other day, and I couldn't remember the name of the restaurant. But shout out to Swahili Village. Good eats.
Shout out to Swahili Village. Good eats. I had my favorite date at Swahili Village, actually.
What?
He's probably gonna see this.
Yo, shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you. We was rooting for you. Speaking of people we were rooting for.
Stop, Trevor. Stop.
I won't go there. I won't go there.
If we go there, we gonna cut all of that out.
I will say though. I feel like the last episode you was on was with Cece,
Yes.
around this time last year, maybe April or something like that. But
mm-hmm.
I was on there talking about I want a girlfriend. I have a girlfriend.
He has a girlfriend.
I have a girlfriend.
Cue the applause.
Yeah. So shout out to my wonderful, beautiful girlfriend Rachel. You know what I'm saying? If you're watching this, I love you. You on the other hand, yeah. So what's the deal, gang?
The deal, realistically, is very much I've been in therapy, healing from some things I need to heal from.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in my Bible, getting right with God, and I've just been a lot of traveling. So I will say, I don't think that it's been feasible to develop a romantic relationship with somebody, specifically because I'm never in one spot.
Yes. Makes sense.
That's something that I realized last year, though, because last year I was definitely flight after flight, so it just didn't make sense. I'm open to it a little bit more now, but I think that I still need to unlock some things within my therapy journey before I just jump right into we just gonna be out here getting into a relationship. I think that's where I'm at right now.
That makes sense. Now, what prompted you to start therapy?
What prompted me to start therapy? That's a great question.
I know. I ask great questions.
Sometimes. Honestly, it's been a long time coming. Like, I've been pushing off therapy for years just because I didn't feel like I needed it. I didn't want to talk to a stranger about my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it was also I wanted a very unbiased and professional opinion about just the things that I needed to unpack and traumas that I was dealing with in the past. Because it's one thing to have your friends talk to you about certain things,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously they're going to be a little bit biased because, like, you know, you're my girl, like, you're my homie. And it's another thing to have like church people give you their advice as well.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it is rooted in the word, and I love that. At the same time, having a professional,
Right.
I think is what I really needed. And she's great. She's really great. Like, we've done a lot in the last few weeks or so.
How long has it been since you started?
I think I started in March. Yeah, I started right before. No, I started quarter 1.
Okay.
Between January and March is
So
when I
it's
started.
been, what is it, May now? So it's been at
A
least
few
like probably
months.
3-4 months.
At least 3 months,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, she's great. I think that the fact that she obviously is a licensed professional, she's helping me get to certain conclusions that I might have not drawn before.
Mm-hmm.
And helping me understand what things happened in my childhood that might make me react to certain things now.
Mm-hmm.
Making me come to terms with myself as it pertains to how I am with men, how I am with dating, how like situations with my dad might have impacted that.
Mm-hmm.
So she's shout out to her.
Shout out to her. Has a lot of like your conversations been around like dating and romantic relationships, or has it been kind of more? I guess I don't know what the word I'm looking for is,
Like holistic.
yeah, I guess.
I want to say maybe like 75% dating and relationships, and 25% maybe like work is thrown in there.
Mm-hmm.
Money is thrown in there. Navigating my 20s is thrown in there. Friendships are thrown in there.
Mm-hmm.
Self-awareness is thrown in there a lot, and just me understanding who I am and how I am in the different spaces that I occupy, whether that be work, church, my family life, my
Mm-hmm.
friendships. So kind of like a 75-25.
Okay, that makes sense. Is that because you're prompting that? Is she prompting it? Like, are you just like, I want to talk about why I can't hold down a man? Like,
First of all, you know what? Let's not even go there. Let's not even go there. Anyway,
am I
I
lying?
think yes.
Okay, you can, but you haven't. Fine, whatever.
Trevor, please. We're not doing this right now. Anyway,
Okay.
I think both of us prompted.
Mm-hmm.
I also expressed to her that like I'm at the age where I can see marriage somewhere in the
Yeah.
view,
Yep.
somewhere in the window. Before it was still like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna get married one day and have some kids. I keep on playing with your mic. I'm sorry.
Pause.
Anyway, before it was like, okay, yeah, like I'm gonna get married, have some kids, whatever,
Yeah.
start a family. But now it's kind of like, whoa, like one day I'm gonna get married. Like
Right.
it's a lot more real now.
Yeah.
So I did express that to her, and she's kind of, been prompting it a lot in terms of just bringing up, okay, so you're saying this is a goal, but let's fix what we need to fix or
Yeah.
address what we need to address before we even get there.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you've realized about yourself, the way you navigate relationships, or anything else that you feel comfortable sharing?
Specifically as it pertains to therapy.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. I guess I could share this. We're not gonna go too deep into it, but one really thing that I realized in one of my sessions, it was a very emotional session too. I think I
Mm-hmm.
told you about this session.
Yeah.
We came to the conclusion that I have a history of pushing away emotionally safe people in my life.
Mm.
And I have a tendency to draw to emotionally unsafe people in my life. And I think that I've been doing really well in the last year or so, like working on that.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a huge realization that it's like, oh wow, dang, like whoa.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, still a hard pill that we're swallowing
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Did hearing that, or could you like explain how that came? Was it like she said it or you said it? It was something like, how did that kind of come
Mm.
up? And was it like, oh, dang, things clicked? Because it sounds like it was like you were kind of thinking about it before,
Mhm.
but in this instance, the way it was brought up or phrased, it like made something click.
Yes. So, I'm not gonna go too much into detail just because it involves people like in my life.
Right.
But we listed out certain traits, positive traits, negative traits of just individuals that I've dealt with in the past. And there was one main individual that I'm very close to. They're a relative of mine. And throughout those traits, there were about 5 people that I've just been involved with in the past. And our exercise was to like check off what traits each of those people share with that main person. And as we were analyzing, like when I was doing it, so okay, like harmless little exercise, cool, cool,
Mm-hmm.
cool, like we're just doing the checks, whatever, whatever. But when we were talking about it afterwards, we realized that two of the main people that I had really strong connections with and just were very drawn to had the most negative check marks. Had
Mm.
the most like negative shared traits with that main person. And that was just very eye opening because like I already knew that those relationships weren't what they needed to be at all.
Right.
Um, but kind of just like seeing it right in front of me, like literally listed out on paper, just like, oh dang, like why you do that, sis? You ain't
Mm-hmm.
have to do all that. Whereas the other individuals, they had a lot of positive marks. However, however, those same people, I either self sabotaged that relationship, or automatically just friend zoned it and just classified it as friends because of the fact that, you know, friends stay, and we're not going to get too much into, the abandonment stuff. But
Right.
yeah, it was just very eye opening to see,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh wow, girl, like it's okay to let emotionally safe people in. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay to, connect on a deeper level and not just keep that person as a friend. Like if they're just a friend, then okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay to explore other possibilities,
Right.
and not just like guard your heart and cage yourself in simply because you fear that it might not last or you
Right.
fear that it might be abandoned. And she brought up a really good point. Great relationships start off as friends. And kind of just like pushing away that aspect of pushing away emotionally safe people, that's something that I've been working on,
Mm-hmm.
and just being very receptive to not only emotionally safe individuals in my life, but how I can be an emotionally safe person for other people too.
Hmm. Oh, that's good. I really enjoyed that. That was very thoughtful. I think it's very interesting the idea of like putting someone friend zoning somebody, trying to keep somebody in a more platonic relationship because those don't end the same way romantic engagements end. I find that really interesting because, not to put me and my girlfriend's business out there too much, but I just spent the spring semester in LA. We met during the fall semester. She's doing a master's program at BU the same way I was, but her program is different than mine. So she's a 2 year program. I'm a 1 year program. I was in Boston for the fall, and then I went to LA for the spring. And so as we were, getting to know each other, dating, this conversation of like, you're about to leave would come up. And my whole thing was like, yes, that's true. So we could either stop talking right now because we know we're about to deal with this thing, or we could say, like, let's continue to get to know each other. Let's figure out where this goes with the understanding that it might not work. And I feel like since my frontal lobe has developed,
This
no, but
much.
I do feel like this is a perspective that I've had for a while. But this idea that, like, yes, things can end, things cannot work, particularly romantic engagements. Like there's the chance that they don't work. But if you just decide to not pursue it for that reason, like, when will you ever get into a relationship? So that's one of those things that I've always found interesting when people are kind of in that protective mode of like, all right, well, this is great and I don't want it to end, so I'm just going to not explore it to its full potential. Like, that to me is a little bit unfortunate. And I remember having a conversation with somebody like on the DMs, because I posted a poll about something, and they said like, "What if we're scared?" And I was like, "Scared of what?" Like scared of it not working or something like that. And I'm like, at the end of the day, or it was scared of heartbreak. And I was like, well, at the end of the day, you're either gonna have the heartbreak of not having anything or having the heartbreak of it not working, right? So like, what's better? One of them is more acute, I would say, but is it better necessarily? So I've always found that interesting, and it's interesting that you brought that up. So shout out to you for being in therapy. How do you see therapy fitting into your, I guess, broader approach to taking care of yourself as a person?
I like that question. It so far, therapy has helped me be a lot more mindful of how I'm reacting, how I'm acting, and with whom I'm sharing my energy with. I think that my therapist has done a really great job of helping me one categorize people. If you know me, you know I'm very much a social butterfly, and
That's true.
there's strength
Hi, I'm Nellisha.
in
What's your name?
no, literally, literally, hi, I'm Nellisha. What's your name? But I think there's a lot of strength in not classifying everyone as a friend so early. So she's helped me identify, okay, well, what are some positive traits that you see in your closest friends that you're like, okay, like that's my dog, like that's my friend, and how are you a friend to other people?
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's very important that we learn to classify people, whether it be friend, acquaintance, peer, classmate,
Right.
coworker,
Mm-hmm.
colleague. Everybody's not your friend.
True.
And so therapy has helped with that as well. Like I said, I am very much a social butterfly. Everybody my little bestie.
Mm-hmm.
But that's definitely been a great aspect of our sessions. I will say another thing has just been being very mindful of boundaries and how I may be crossing boundaries. For example, this goes back to trips. So I'm very much like a mixy type of friend. Like I don't think I have one specific circle, but I'm kind of like the floater friend. And I also love for like everybody to be
So you
connected.
love a good crossover
I
episode.
love a good crossover, but I didn't really realize that not everybody, not everybody likes a crossover
This is
episode.
true.
And there was, for example, going back to like this past winter, a few of my friends and I, they were like, "Oh, like let's do a ski trip." I'm like, "Okay, cool, cool, cool." Another friend group was like, let's do a ski trip. So I'm like, okay, two groups want to do a ski trip. We might as well all do one big trip.
Mm-hmm.
And so I brought the idea up. People like, okay, like it's cool, 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 whatever. Like, I'm okay with that. Cool, we make a group chat. The trip did not make it out the group chat, unfortunately. But it was brought to my attention a little bit later that not everybody was feeling that because of the fact that it was, a very mixy group.
Right.
And not everybody likes being mixy. And so that was a great conversation that I had with my girl Kadisha. Shout out to Kadisha and Ananda. Shout out to Ananda. But I didn't really realize that. And what sparked me just kind of like being open to that conversation was my therapist bringing up, like, oh, like, do you think like everybody else is seeing it the same way? And so I think that therapy allows me to broaden my perspective a lot and not just stay like so linear in what I'm thinking, but also she's not like she's not my friend.
Right.
So she's not afraid of hurting my feelings. She's not afraid of, stepping on my toes a little bit or making me think about things that I might not necessarily be thinking about.
Right.
She's just gonna say it like it is, and I love that. And so when she brought that up, I was like, oh, that's that's a great thing to think about. You're
Mm-hmm.
absolutely right. So it has made me a lot more aware of boundaries. And lastly, I would say that therapy has helped me in terms of analyzing what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. Because sometimes like delivery is everything. So I could say the same thing, but if I'm saying it with like a little attitude, you might get a little defensive.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I'm saying it based on like how I'm feeling or saying a certain thing based on like my perspective and in a nicer tone, you may receive it a whole lot easier. So shout out to therapy. Go to therapy, y'all. Go to therapy.
I agree. I feel like therapy's, like you said, it's important to talk about things. And, some people just don't have people that they're close to that they feel comfortable talking about certain things with. Some people do. But at the end of the day, I feel like, at least for me, like, I don't talk to everybody about everything, right? Like, there are certain things I'm going to talk to this person about. There's certain things I'm going to talk to this person about. And I feel like with the therapist, again, like you said, they're a professional. They're not your friend. So it's like, whatever I say to you, it's not like I don't got to worry about you. Okay, this person. I got like an issue with this person, so I can't really tell you that and all of these things. Like, you're just an impartial observer and you can give me feedback. One thing that I've noticed is my therapist never told me like really anything straight up. She would never like just give me an answer.
Ask you.
Exactly. It's always about like getting you to get to the answer yourself. And I always felt like a pretty self-aware person. So like it's like I don't think I'm going into a therapy session. She's gonna say, well, this is because you have this conflict with your mother. Like I already know that. But it's more so for me in terms of evaluating how do these things manifest in my current relationships. Like I get really agitated very easily. Like I just be like, I don't give a fuck. When I stop caring, there's a level of like the kind of social norms that we have. Like I stop caring about those too. So okay, if something's a little bit like rude to say, when I'm in that mode of like I'm just agitated, I'm gonna say it. And I'll deal with the consequences later. And that's one of those things that like over the years I had to learn like probably shouldn't do that because now you might have severed something. Because to me, like certain things just aren't that deep. Like if someone said this to me, I don't care. But not everybody takes things the same way you do. Pause. So it's like I didn't need to pause that. That was crazy.
Keep going.
No, but not everybody receives things the same way that you do. So it's important to keep that in mind. And I do think that was one place where I would have blind spots of like, that wouldn't bother me. So why does it bother you? You're being emotional, you're being unreasonable, or X, Y, and Z. And like in some cases that might be true, but it's also like, do you like want to maintain this relationship or do you want to be right? Now sometimes I just want to be right, and I'm just not gonna put up with that. But you got to think about that. Do you value this relationship enough to like kind of come off your position a little bit, right? Like give room, have some leeway, because at the end of the day, we all have different perspectives. So shout out to you for managing your mentals. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to you too.
You know? Appreciate it.
All y'all who fumble him, you fumbled a man in therapy. Crazy. These guys not doing therapy for real.
You know?
They're not doing therapy for real.
I have my flaws though, for me. Like I have my issues.
He does.
I have my issues.
Fumbled.
We all have our issues. I don't think I was fumbled. I don't like to use that. I don't like to think in that paradigm. I think things happen the way they need to happen.
Amen. That was good. That was good.
That's it. That's all.
You're going to get brownie points from your girlfriend for that one.
She makes really good brownies too. Anyway, that's the other problem. Happy eats when he never.
Look at him. He cheesing.
Bruh. So my sister just graduated from med school. My sister just graduated from med school. We're gonna talk more about this. My sister just graduated from med school. Shout out to my sister, big doctor.
Big Dr. Bear.
And my mom, she is still close with her college friends, and so they like all go to each other's kids' stuff. Like one of the kids gets married, they showing up. Kids graduate, they showing up. So we're in Florida. They're all down there. They come to graduation, and then we go to dinner that night, and then we go to brunch the next day. We're at brunch, and I'm talking shit about my sister because like it's my sister. What else would I be doing? And I was like, they all made shirts with like
her face on it.
Yeah, like it was like 2025, and like the numbers had like pictures in them of her, and I was like, dang, I want a shirt, but they just made it for them, right? I was like, you know what? If you get married, I'm gonna print out like a big old shirt with your face on it, but like also that's not very likely. So I'm talking shit, right? I'm like, you're not gonna get married, whatever. They're like, are you gonna get married? I was like, hey, no, that's the goal. They're like, they were like, you got a girlfriend? I was like, yeah. They're like, can we see a picture? I was like, yeah. And they're like, yo, you're smiling now hard, bro. I was like,
he is.
What can I say? I've turned into my girl ass nigga. Like
my girl,
you know what I'm saying? My girlfriend does this. Oh, motherfuckers be like, oh, I'm in Atlanta. Yo, my girlfriend's in Atlanta. That's so crazy. Like, yeah, I've turned into one of those. I post her on Valentine's Day. Like, I've turned into one of. Speaking of which, I post on my story not too frequently, but I post on my story on like a semi-regular basis.
Okay.
Depending on what I'm posting, like certain polls, like, you know, it'll be like 300, 400 views, like depending on the type of poll it is. When I posted my girl, got like 900 views on my story. I was like, y'all are mad nosy, bro. What's going on?
Love a good.
But to be fair, she doesn't even have Instagram. I was just posting a flex. So like, hey.
Love a good tea party. Well, I'm trying to have some nieces and nephews, so go ahead and work on that.
But I also want nieces and nephews.
Go ahead and work on that.
I also want nieces and nephews. So, like, what's the deal, gang?
Let me finish therapy. and we could talk about that. Let me finish my year in the Bible, and then maybe we could come across those lines. But we're not talking about me right now. Well, we are, but like for this, we're talking about you. So go ahead and get a little da 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 da. Honestly, I can't see myself being a parent right now.
Like when you say like can't see yourself being a parent right now, I mean like in this
myself
current state of you
in
can't
this
see.
current state of me, I can't see myself being a parent.
Ooh, I would hope not.
The near future, I can't see myself being a parent. My financial status, I can't see myself being a parent. I want to be outside, not like at parties and whatnot, but like.
So you want to be young and turn?
I want to be young and
overseas.
Turn, you know, overseas. I like only having to be responsible for me.
She don't want no dependence.
And yeah, that's a great one too. And like, I just don't see kids in the near future for me. Like, I do want some lovely babies, but first comes the ring, and yeah,
and before the ring comes the relationship.
Yeah, you know, before the relationship, we gotta finish therapy. All the things, all the boxes gotta get checked out.
All right.
But yeah, so you could go ahead and work on that.
Somebody, bro. Somebody, please.
You know, go ahead and do
like
that.
I would love to have like small children in my life that aren't mine. That I can like influence and help raise, but they're not mine.
Do you have names? No.
No.
You don't have names. Does she have names?
Yeah, we have like a shared note. It's cute.
What are some of the names?
I don't know.
You never opened the note?
I mean, like sometimes, but I don't remember them. Like I could open it right now.
Can you open it? Like... I want to know a couple of the names.
Is there anything in there? Is the question.
Oh.
Because I haven't contributed. Like I don't have baby names. Like, that's one of those things that, like, all right, if it comes to me, then cool. But like, I just let my life handle that. Like, it's,
you're gonna look at a baby.
You got it.
Nellisha.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I do know.
You're lost.
Yeah, there's a good list in here. Like we got Josiah, Jamari, Malachi.
I'm sorry, Josiah or Josiah?
Josiah.
That's on my list.
Dang, that's crazy.
Take it off.
No.
That's
what
on
do you mean
my list.
Take it off? What you talking about?
Take it off. Take it off. I'm trying to say from New York. Like, take it off.
No, I don't fuck with New York. You know this.
Josiah. Let's see who gets Josiah first.
Oh yeah, there's a whole list on here, and these are all hers. Except for, I do know that if and when I have a girl, I want her middle name to be Renee, because my mom and my sister's middle name is Renee. So I think that would be like a nice little, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't remember what the word is, but yeah. Like I wouldn't name
legacy, or like a
the like homage was kind of the word I was going for there. You know, like I wouldn't necessarily want her first name to be, but like, you know, you carry that thing going. So yeah, I think that would be cool, but I'm not having kids for a while, so I got time to brainstorm. I'm looking at this list right now, and it's literally all hers. All hers.
Nice.
But you know what? It's okay to let your girlfriend, you know what I'm saying, do the things that she's good at and play the background sometimes. Just play the background. You don't gotta be running shit all the time. Like wedding time. What do you know? It's like whatever you want. I don't really care that much. I don't really care that much. I just let me get my list down. Open bar.
Yeah, he's gonna get married soon. I love it.
Soon? What do we define as soon?
Let me stop.
What do we define as soon? Like I don't know about soon, but it like
not
too long. Not too long. 26. Yeah, not too long.
A wedding. More weddings, less baby showers. Hello.
Well, just have the baby shower after the wedding. It's all we ask.
That too, but more weddings.
That's all we ask. Well, I mean, like if you do the math, you have multiple kids per marriage, and you would have more baby showers than weddings. But like, I get what you're saying, because like more weddings than baby showers might mean like you're divorced. Like we don't want that. So
getting so technical. Okay.
I'm just saying, you know,
Understood.
like words have power, so we want to make sure we're using them properly. But you know. Shout out to all the people having, babies in wedlock. Is in wedlock a thing?
Out of wedlock.
Yeah, it's out of wedlock, but is in wedlock a thing?
How did we get here, Trevor?
I don't know.
How did we get here?
I don't know. Sorry talking about my girlfriend and one left.
In wedlock. It sounds correct.
Who knows? Anyway, you get the point. Like, this whole baby mama shit, I'm tired of it.
Shout out to all the wonderful mommies, the wonderful daddies that are doing their thing. Shout out to them.
Facts.
Shout out to y'all. Could it be me? Could it be him? But
yeah, baby daddy is crazy, and that's just I never want that for me. Like,
may God bless you and your
I never want that for me.
May God bless y'all and your family.
So diplomatic.
Anyways,
I never want that for myself. All right, that was nice. That was like a nice, thoughtful conversation. I have some poll topics that I posted that I wanted to run by you. I know you voted on these, but I don't remember what you voted, and you can't go back and see it. Let's see. Which one of these do I want to start with?
Honestly, some of them I may not have voted on because I didn't know where I stood. So
I just screenshotted some of them from the back because the highlight is really long. So let's start with the most recent one I posted. It was on TikTok. I saw someone posting a TikTok about people you never knew were black. So I posted this poll, and it says, should someone who appears to be white but has a black parent be considered black? Basically, do you
someone
believe
who
in the idea of
appears,
white passing? So, like,
yes. Specifically, they are mixed, but at the same time, I think it honestly depends on where you're from. And in the US, obviously race plays such a huge factor, but like look at the example with Tyler, for example. She got so much heat for calling herself colored, but like that's what they do where she's from.
right.
I personally do believe in white passing. Like you're not gonna come up in here looking like, give me a white person, looking like Tom Brady.
There you go.
And tell me that you are like that you're black. That doesn't really mix. Like you are white. You may be mixed. You may have black in you, but like your race is white. And honestly, I think the conversation sometimes just is unnecessary. It's like if you're black, you're black. If you're not, you're not. If you're of African descent, cool, cool, cool. But a lot of it just depends on like.
I think it really just hinges on the fact that people don't know the difference between race, ethnicity, and like nationality.
Let's talk about it.
Because at the end of the day, when it comes to race, right, like this is where I get so annoyed because people will be like, "Oh, I'm black," and then they'll have to show you a picture of their parent or grandparent. It's like, no, you don't understand.
You're
race.
not black.
Race, and like some people say, well, race is just a social construct. Yes. But the point is, the social construct is based on your phenotypical appearance.
Agreed.
It's not at all genetic. Race is not a genetic phenomenon. You can't break someone down by genes. You have to see their outward appearance. So, how you look is your race. How people perceive you is your race. So if you move through the world and people perceive you as white, you're white. If you move through the world, people perceive you as black, you're black. Now, obviously, there's ambiguity. There are people who are in the middle, like, I can't tell. All right, yes, but exceptions don't disprove the rule. So if you're somebody, I remember somebody was like, be more specific, and I found I think 4 pictures. It was like Tori Kelly, Logic, Isaiah Hartenstein, who's in the NBA, and then I forgot it was like Sophia Richie, and they all just like look white to me at least. And I'm like, those people, they all have a black parent.
I think Sophia Richie, like, she could tell me that she's black. And I think, honestly, for her, I think it's her facial features that kind of do it. Maybe I gotta look at another picture of her. But for me, it's like her facial features.
And she got a little nose bridge that I'm like, oh, okay. But like,
her lips are a little African.
But it's like, if you were just walking down, you ain't know who she was. You just walking down the street. You ain't gonna think like, oh, that's a black person. Like, it's just a white girl, walking around. And that to me is the point, right? Like, that's all race is. Race that's not to discount your heritage, or not to discount your culture. Because I think sometimes what'll happen is when you're having a conversation with somebody for whom this applies, where like they appear to be white.
You're right.
That's what I'm saying. I'll put it up in the, you know what I'm saying? I'll edit it in. We do have those abilities. But I think people will take that as you're trying to discount their heritage, discount their culture. And it's like, nah, like, you can't, like, because again, even black, when we say black, what does that mean? Because black could mean, like, African diaspora, or black could mean black American. Like, there's a lot of definitions of black. It could refer to a race. It could refer to an ethnicity, a culture, all of these different things. But I think at the end of the day, racially, if you look white, you're white. That's me. Do you agree?
I agree, and I think echoing what you said, there are exceptions. And honestly, just be who you are. You know, be who you are. Don't be who you're not. I think it comes into like it just becomes such a complex conversation because like you do have, for example, some Hispanics. Some of them might feel like they're in the middle because it's like, some people may classify them as white, but they may not feel white. But they may feel black, and so.
What does that mean? You wouldn't know, but aren't you as a Haitian technically Hispanic?
No, we're Latino.
My fault.
I wrote a whole paper about this in college. You were trying to tell me, oh yeah, you're not Latinx because you're Haitian.
Also, I heard Spanish people do not like the. Sorry, I shouldn't call them Spanish. Latino people don't like the designation Latinx, but That's
Really?
not here nor there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. You would have to ask somebody who's like actually familiar with that. I think it just has to do with the way they genderize words, and it's like a gendered word doesn't necessarily isn't specific to a gender. So when you say Latinx, it's like nah, like you're using an English convention on like Spanish. Yeah, right. Okay. So, that's but again, I can't. This is not my culture. I didn't study this or anything like that. So I don't want to speak for nobody. This is just what I've heard.
This is
disclaimer. Disclaimer.
No, that's a good point. I never really thought about that. That's a great point.
That's just what I heard. Okay, that was good. I like that. Oh, do you think that having children is a selfish decision?
I did see that one.
And this one was fun. I had a lot of conversations about this one.
I don't remember if I voted on that one because I was definitely thinking about it. I think let's first define selfish. I think that's what we're going to start.
You got to define selfish?
Yes. My short answer to your question is yes. But hold on. Okay.
Out of all the words to define.
We're in school. Selfish, lacking consideration for others, concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pleasure. Okay. Kids didn't ask to be here.
Correct.
Therefore, you are having children to further your legacy. Your legacy.
Mm-hmm.
You are having children because you want children.
Mm-hmm.
You are having children because you want a family.
Mm-hmm.
I think in short, it is selfish. Is it wrong? No. Is it selfish?
Yeah.
Yes.
Succinctly put, that was basically my position. Now, I want to see what were the results of this poll. I made it agree or disagree. So basically, 73% of people said it's not selfish to have children.
Did they say why? Because I would love to hear some perspective.
I have like
my mind.
I had 6 responses that were in like the question box, and I had a lot of conversations in the DMs. Someone quoted Genesis 1:28.
I was gonna say there's probably a biblical point of view in there somewhere.
Someone said it's literally your only duty. Nah, most of the people who disagreed, like who said it wasn't selfish, didn't like. Unless like we probably had conversations in the DMs, but it wasn't in like the question.
Did the Genesis one? Did they elaborate? Because I do like
they
that. They
literally just threw Genesis 1:28 in there. I was like, I don't know what Genesis 1:28 says.
Let's see what Genesis 1:28 says.
A quick Google search would have solved it, but I didn't look that far.
God blessed them, and God said unto them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it." That was a good point.
Yeah, but I mean, I think still philosophically, like if you take that like a mandate, like you have a mandate from God to do this, it's still selfish because you want to obey what God said. It doesn't take into consideration the life that you're creating. So I think it's very hard when you're making a decision that cannot consult the party that it affects to argue that it's not selfish.
That's a good point too. I think in short it is. But it also doesn't make it wrong.
Yeah, that's my point. I don't think it's wrong or immoral. I just think it's selfish.
I know me. I'm going to have a bunch of little babies running around.
All right, good luck to you. I want like 3. 2, 3. Be cool right there.
Minimum 4.
Minimum 4? And you going to push them all out? God bless you.
Minimum 4. My magic number. I can't even speak. Sorry, English is my second language. My magic number is 6. Yes. Josiah, Judah, Jeremiah, Annalise, Soleil, and Solana. Those are my 6.
I don't like the consistency in the names. I don't like it. But you got it.
Well, you gonna be their daddy, so
actually you got it, and you do whatever you want. But you've thought about this too much.
I have more names in the list.
I don't.
Those are just the ones that I really like.
You got it. Speaking of children,
African middle name.
Speaking of children, because she knows what she's aiming for. So a quick PSA: if you are interested in Nellisha, and you are a man, because
Trevor,
it's 2025. You gotta just clarify.
Give me your hand.
No.
Sorry.
You gotta clarify.
Anyway, yes.
Nellisha likes tall African men.
What else? What's my type, Trevor? What's my type?
I feel like we asked this like last year.
Maybe.
We definitely did. I could go pull it up, but like it's tall, African.
Big ass accent.
You hating. African, particularly West African, though you're expanding. Nice teeth, hair, money, must have a passport, wants a family. That's like those are the ones that I feel like.
God fearing.
There you go.
Christian.
I, we figured.
Shout out to the Muslims.
We,
We
we knew what you meant by. But yeah, okay. But yeah, I basically got it. I know. So if you fit that description, and you're interested in Nellisha here,
Now he
please do inquire within. her socials will be in the description. You go find her, shoot her DM. You know what I'm saying? If you need me to middleman, holler at me. I got you. You know what I'm saying? I throw lobs.
Maybe you'll find Nelly.
Tight.
Pinning.
Oh my goodness. All right. Last one. Since we were speaking about children, do you think it's disrespectful for a husband to get a DNA test done on his and his wife's newborn baby?
Whoa. When was that on your story?
December 28th, 2024.
Do I think it's disrespectful? It can be. It can be. One, there's so many questions in my mind.
You see how her voice got more aggressive? Like, she feeling this one. Keep going.
I don't think it's going to happen to me, but one, why do you feel the need to test the baby?
Don't ask me. I don't know.
No, I'm just, this is my first time hearing this. So it's like, whoa. Why do you feel the need to test the baby? Mm-hmm. If the child doesn't look like you, it's like, give it some time. The child literally looks like a newborn potato. Like, it doesn't look like anybody yet. I think that this is a conversation that should have already been had before you conceived a child with your wife. Because it's like, obviously, there's a trust issue there. Mm-hmm. Whoa. I would feel disrespected. Mm-hmm. I would feel disrespected if my husband. It's not like this.
Yeah, no.
Daddy. This is my.
Yeah, no. Husband. I figure if I ask like just a baby dad, like you should get that. Like I don't even think that's a question. Now,
this is my husband.
Now, would you continue to get STD tests in a marriage?
Would I continue to get STD tested in a marriage? Yes. And I say that. No, I say that because you can contract STIs in many different ways. Not all STIs are just through having intercourse. So say for example, like, I don't want to put their business out there. How can I give this example without putting? Okay, say for example, like you end up maybe touching somebody that might have contracted, like, I think it's HPV. And now all of a sudden you have HPV.
HPV is.
I think you can get. Let's Google it. I do think that
transmitted
is the case,
via external touch.
Hold on. It's either HPV or hepatitis C. How? Hold on. Can HPV be? Yes, HPV can be transmitted from person to person. It is highly contagious as it is, skin to skin contact.
Damn.
So in that case, it's like you would definitely want to get tested. You're not going to know unless you get tested. Mm-hmm. And so I do think that you should definitely.
So would you only get tested for that?
I wouldn't get tested for that. I would get tested for everything I need to get tested for, anything I want to get tested for at my annual physical.
No. But are you understanding where this line of questioning is
I do. I think both people, go get tested. There's no harm in it. There's no harm in getting tested.
Right, but if the implication of, okay, I'm having, like, if I, as a husband, want to get a DNA, not saying that this is my position, but if I am, as a husband, want to get a DNA test for the child that my wife births, because I have no way of knowing outside of this DNA test if this child is mine for certain, whereas my wife is pushing the child out, so she knows it's her kid, right? The implication when I suggest that is that I'm thinking she was unfaithful. To me, if you're getting STD tests outside of the ones that you can contract via external touch, it's the same implication.
That's an interesting perspective. I don't think I would feel, okay, I need to go get, chlamydia tested when I'm married. But I don't think there's any harm in it. I wouldn't necessarily think that my husband's cheating if he's like, oh, let's go get tested. I think it's okay, let's go get tested. At the same time, I'm not married, so maybe my perspective may change in a few years. But like I said, like the DNA testing, I would feel very disrespected because it's like, are you implying that I'm out here having babies with other people? when did this come about? Like, what happened? What was it that did it? That was like, okay, maybe this child isn't my child. And yeah, like that's loaded. Would you get DNA tested?
Probably not.
Probably not?
Why not?
Why probably not?
Because I'm not married. I've never been in this position before. If you ask me like about something that I've never been in the position before, I'm not gonna say absolutely one way or the other. I don't know. That's why I say probably not, because I would like to feel like, all right, well, if I'm having a child with my wife, I feel comfortable that this baby's mine. But I've never been in that position before. So like, you don't know the emotions that come around. Like, obviously I'm not pregnant, so I'm not having those emotional swings that a pregnant woman will have. But I'm not saying that like I would do it. Again, it's the principle of I've never been in this position, so I cannot say absolutely what I would do one way or the other. So my position is like no, but I have to leave some room for the fact that I've never been in this position before, so I can't necessarily speak for what my mindset will be. But I do completely understand that, like, yo, we're married, we're having a kid, and now you're like, can I get a DNA test? Like, you think I was out here just doing whatever? So that's why I was very curious about this one. This one was like one of the more even splits. I asked, I broke it down to, so I asked, is it disrespectful? It was absolutely no, it's the smart thing to do, or only if he doesn't tell the wife. And 33% said absolutely it's disrespectful. 39% said no, it's actually the smart thing to do. And 29% of people said only if he doesn't tell the wife. So if he's like secretive.
Did they elaborate why they said it was a smart thing to do?
Someone said, as a person who's seen some trifling shit, it's absolutely necessary to get a DNA test.
Sorry to you.
Hey man, like the thing is, you go on the internet, you can see all types of paternity fraud and da-da-da-da. Now, is this happening in your own life? Now that's tough. But like, people, we have access to a whole lot of stories and whatnot, so I can see how someone might be like that can infiltrate someone's mind and make them less secure in this. Somebody else said only because life been getting too crazy. It's sick to do, but a clear mind is key. Depends if there's really a reason to suspect infidelity, then yes, it's warranted. Yeah, so I think
first two, we talked about therapy.
People been through a lot, man.
Seems like there's some things y'all need to unpack.
People been through a lot, but you know, at the end of the day, these are only hypotheticals to me. That's it. I like asking questions and then getting into it with people in my DMs who disagree.
Well, future husband, if you're out there, we are not testing the DNA of that baby because it's gonna be yours. Period.
This has been a wonderful episode of the Global Renaissance Podcast. Dear Twin, thanks for coming on. At this point, you know where to find her. She's actually changed her ats. They're all at You Found Nelly. Links will be in the description.
Found Nelly.
Y'all know where to find me. Everything is at _Trevor Woods. The podcast is at the Global Renaissance Pod. Like, follow, comment, subscribe. You know the vibes. If you get to this point, you know what to do.
Big T wanna.
Nigga, I didn't peep. Fuck you.
Big T wanna don't play.
You got that one out. All right, don't trust your friends. Anyway, this has been another episode of Global Renaissance Podcast. Appreciate y'all for listening. I'll catch y'all on the next one.